Paul McCartney, a famous musician and bassist for the Beatles, claimed that Yoko Ono's presence during the band's recording sessions was an interruption. Yoko Ono is said to have met John Lennon for the first time in 1966. After getting married in 1969, the two stayed together till Lennon passed away in 1980. Paul talks on the Beatles' feelings for Yoko Ono when John Lennon first brought her into the studio in an upcoming episode of McCartney, A Life in Lyrics, his new 12-part audio series. John and Yoko have gotten together, and that has definitely had an impact on the dynamics of the band, Paul McCartney told poet Paul Muldoon, according to The Independent. Things like Yoko Ono showing up in the middle of a recording session are something you have to cope with. It was believed that if John Lennon wanted something to happen, then it had to. There is no excuse not to, Paul McCartney went on. Paul McCartney continued, stating that having Yoko Ono present in the center of the band when they were in the studio recording was rather uncomfortable. However, Paul McCartney claims that the Beatles members chose to let it go because they didn't want a repeat. Whatever it is, it bothers us. We will not become related to one other over this, and will go on. But at the same time, I don't think any of us liked it, said Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney said that he had made the mistake of allowing the situation to continue, even though Ringo Starr, George Harrison, and other Beatles members were uncomfortable. At work, it was a distraction. We follow a set protocol. The four of us work together with George Martin, and that's pretty much the problem. And we constantly operate in this manner. I think we just bottle it up and move on, so it's not too confrontational, said Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney has already expressed views on the topics he has previously discussed in the interim. In a 2016 Rolling Stone interview, Paul McCartney said that the Beatles felt threatened at the time, because Yoko Ono was sitting atop the amplifier while they were recording songs. It's too much for most bands to handle. We didn't handle it very well because we were pretty close, Paul said. Though they don't come to the studio very often, the women who do come usually let us do the work. We don't practice sexism. When John was with Yoko, he was neither in the control room nor on the sidelines. Paul McCartney remembered the unpleasant moment, saying, "It happened in the middle of the four of us."